And I want you to know that no matter what, we can work through this together, and I can help you. Okay? But you just gotta let me help you. But I have you told me to be straight up. I got a very straight up question. Okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Did you kill Gannon? I need to know. I need you to answer me yes or no right now.
I killed Gannon.
Did
The
you?
answer is no. I can't believe you asked me this.
I just gotta know. You had told me to be straight up. I gotta know what's happening to my son.
Tell me why you would think I killed Gannon.
Hi, my name is Madison, and you are listening to or watching Who's Knocking, a true crime podcast. Welcome back. This is the second episode of my series on the Letecia Stauch, Gannon Stauch murder. If you have not listened to part one, I suggest you do that. It will give you some good foundational knowledge on what we're going to get into today. If you're here and you're new, watch this video, and if you like it, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to this channel. That would help me out immensely. If you would just perhaps maybe give it a like, send us a little comment, whatever, that would be awesome. And also, if you are so interested, I do have a true crime newsletter that comes out every Friday. It is called Grim Weekly and can be found at grimweekly.com. I think that's all of the things. So I think I will get into a little recap of last episode. Last episode, we talked about Letecia Stauch, a little bit about her not really her childhood, but her early life, her family. We talked about the Stauchs, Gannon Stauch, his father and mother, Al and Landon. He also has a sister named Lena. And I'm not, I didn't show her photo. I just feel like, younger kids, it's not really necessary to show their faces. I don't think any good would come of that. You can find her face all over the internet, but whatever. I don't want to give it out. And how Al and Landon went on to get a divorce, and how Al and Letecia got themselves into a relationship and very quickly into a marriage. That marriage seemed to be crumbling at a pretty rapid pace by the time that we get to Gannon's disappearance and then his death. And that we will get into a little bit more today. I think that's all I really want to say. The first episode was not very long, so really just watch it. And yeah, I think let's get into it. So Letecia's first story was very simple. Gannon went to play with a neighbor around 3:30, 4 p.m., and he never came home. Remember, she added a few little details herself to make it seem like he'd left on his own. There was the bath salt story and the cigar in his backpack, really painting a story that Gannon had taken off on his own. Letecia told this story to the 911 operator, then she told it to the officer who first showed up to take her statement around 10 p.m. And then, again, she repeated this story to Detective Bethel the next day on January 28th when she interviewed both Letecia and Al at a local Starbucks. Now, in the background of story number one, the whole neighborhood got a hold of the story right away, and everybody was out looking for Gannon and doing everything that they could do to help. The night that Gannon went missing was an extremely cold night, and I believe it rained the whole night. So everybody, they got on their rain gear, they bundled up, and they spent hours out in the freezing cold looking for this missing child. Because they're good neighbors, and why would you not do that if you gave a shit, right? The story was blasted all over Facebook, groups were started, and neighbors were handing out their CCTV footage, making food, doing everything they could to help. Then Letecia changed her story to the one where this construction worker named Eduardo entered her home, attacked and raped her, and then took off with Gannon. This is story number 2. Letecia first told this story to Al. He was already getting a little bit suspicious of her because the whole car situation, the rental car, and finding her car at the not finding her car at the school. But this added to his skepticism. He acted like he believed her, and as soon as she told him, he immediately went around the house gathering guns and putting them in the trunk of his car for safety reasons. We do know that on the day of the 27th, Gannon was home with Letecia. We know that they went to Petco together and they came home together. And after that, there's no more footage of Gannon to be seen. We also know that Lena arrived home from school on her bus around 3:15 as usual. And when she got home, Letecia told her to go play outside. Now, Harley, her daughter, arrived home at around 4:30 while Lena was still playing outside. And she came inside and she asked about Gannon's whereabouts. And Letecia told her that he was outside playing with a friend and he would be home in time for them to all go out for dinner. I believe they're supposed to go to sushi together. Then Letecia told Harley that she'd read online about how to get rid of burn stains on carpets, and she asked Harley to run to the store to get some cleaning supplies. And she also asked Harley to take Lena with her to do that errand. So Harley went to the dollar store and she purchased trash bags, cotton rounds, baking soda, baby lotion, baby oil, elastics, string, and deodorizer, and some bubblegum for Lena. Okay, so fast forward, we know that Al came home, Landon came, everybody gathered. During a search of the home, the police found blood in the garbage and on the bed of Al's truck, which Letecia forgot to mention. But then, oh yeah, she said that Gannon had cut his foot in the garage while he was barefoot. And so she picked him up and put him on the bed of the truck to bandage him up. And that's why there was blood there. This was super concerning, as Letecia had already mentioned that Gannon also had burned himself with the candle. So these injuries on Gannon were starting to add up. Police also went on to later find a pretty large pool of blood in Gannon's room. I believe it was under a carpet, and Letecia could not explain that at all. Police confiscated the truck, and immediately Letecia rented a car and returned it the next day. It was later discovered that she had put 955 miles on that car in that one day. So on the 28th, while she had this car, Letecia was texting with her daughter Harley and getting information out of her about what was happening at home. She wanted to know what Al was doing, and Harley was informing her that there was media coming to the house and stuff like that, and that Al had gone to the police station. Sometime after 7 p.m., detectives arrived and Letecia told Harley via text not to let them in. Harley obeyed her mother and did not answer the door. Now, it's been made very clear through the trial that Harley was very close with her mother and that she trusted Letecia a lot, and she was very obedient. Letecia was extremely controlling, and she was very manipulative of Harley and made her believe that everyone else was against her unfairly. Now, Letecia told Harley that they were going to stay at a hotel that night. The entire time that she was texting Harley that night, she led Harley to believe that she was at the police station doing interviews and helping, when in reality, she was not anywhere near the police station. In fact, she was avoiding the police who had asked her to come and speak with them. Harley met Letecia at this hotel, and she had to wait in her car for a very long time before Letecia arrived in her Volkswagen Tiguan, which she now had back. Then when Letecia arrived, she told Harley that they were actually going to go home and she wanted to ride with Harley, so they took Harley's car and left Letecia's Tiguan in that parking lot. Again, Harley did not really question any of this. She was just doing what she was told. Now, sometime on the 28th, Letecia had this phone call interaction with Detective Bethel.
I'm just trying to figure out I got your message about something. I talked to you earlier. You didn't say anything else. I'm just trying to I'm confused at what you want me to do, what's going on. You talked to me, now you want to talk to me again.
Well, you sent me that message saying I don't know what you want from me, so.
Yes, because, my child couldn't leave. I couldn't go home. I don't have anywhere to sleep. I just don't understand.
Well, I'm sorry. that sort of kind of came out of left field for me. All I'm trying to do is gather information to find Gannon.
I don't understand what you mean came out of left field. My own child could not leave. So how is that out of left field?
What do you mean your child couldn't leave?
She was trying to go to Starbucks and was left there and forced to stay there with men in and out the home by herself.
Okay, I don't know what happened at your home. I know that she was offered the opportunity to come into the office and she didn't want to, so she didn't go into the office.
But what does she need to go in the office for? She can't go get food. She can't go get coffee and have to be asked why she gets coffee. Either Starbucks app to see that she gets coffee like every day.
Is there anything more that you might be able to share with me to help me find Gannon?
Just give me this.
Where are you now?
You keep asking me this over and over and over.
Where are you now?
I'm not going in to talk to you
Okay.
without an attorney when you already talked to me earlier.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
But I just don't understand what's going on.
Do you have anything, any further information to give me that may help me find Gannon? Any new developments, new information?
I told you this.
Okay. Well then, I'm gonna go ahead and end the conversation then, because we've already spoken.
Okay, so why do you keep saying because someone came and looking for me, wanted me to go talk to them, so now it's you. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
You and I have already spoken. If you don't want to come in to speak with me at the office, that's completely fine.
But why was someone?
I don't know. And so what I'm saying at this point in time, Letecia, is if you don't have any other information for me to actively look through to find Gannon, there's no point in me continuing this conversation. I need to get off the phone here and start working on leads and developments.
So here you're just getting a little taste of Letecia's sparkling personality, which you will get to meet intimately over the series, and she's a very off-putting person. That's all I'll say for now. Extremely off-putting. But you can be the judge of that. Now, while all of this is going on, the people on social media who were initially so eager to help the Stauchs began to turn on Letecia. It became very clear to everyone that Letecia probably had something to do with it. She was being evasive, she was uncooperative, she was not helping with any of the searches, and her just leaving for large periods of time was noticed by all. At this point, Al had contacted Detective Bethel to tell her about Letecia having rented the car and gave all of his suspicions about her because he didn't know what to do. He went in for a formal interview, and from that point on, he began working with the police. Now, on the night of the 28th, Letecia began to text Detective Bethel.
And then did you, basically throughout that night, early morning hours, were you getting text messages from the defendant?
Yes, I was.
What was the nature of those text messages?
A lot of them were about her, focused around her. I kept asking her to come in to talk to me if she had any additional information for me. And eventually in the early morning hours of the 29th, she gave me a story that she needed to talk to me. She was asking for a friend if we released information to the media. I told her we did not. She said something that had happened to her and she couldn't tell me around Albert because he would be mad and would become violent. And I ultimately arranged an interview for her, which was supposed to start at 10 o'clock at the sheriff's office on that Wednesday.
10 o'clock a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Was it odd to you, as you're describing those text messages, the early text messages, that the focus from her perspective was on her as opposed to finding Gannon.
Absolutely,
Why,
yes.
why was that odd?
In my experience, investigating other crimes and investigating other missing children, the parents are always willing to give me whatever information they can to find their child. And I've never experienced a parent being concerned about their own well-being or welfare while their child is missing.
Clearly, with all of these interactions with Detective Bethel, Letecia is probing to see what they know, and she does a piss poor job at pretending to be a concerned parent. It's all about her. She just cannot even pretend to be worried about Gannon, unfortunately for her. Now, these text interactions led to an arrangement being made for Letecia to come down to the station the next day at 10 a.m. to speak with Detective Bethel. Letecia did not show up for that interview at 10 a.m. and told Detective Bethel that she had to put measures in place because her daughter was being stalked and her family was receiving death threats. No evidence has ever come out of these death threats or this alleged stalker. Letecia did arrive at the police station at 12 p.m. on the 29th, and it was interesting, to say the least. Letecia was interviewed by Detective Bethel and another detective, and I'll give you a little taste of that interview.
I know that they had gotten in a truck. I came back inside, run back downstairs, and that's when I was trying to get Gannon because I couldn't get. I didn't know how to get everybody at once. So my main thing was to get the front people out, and then go. So then I ran back downstairs to get Gannon. And then the fire was on the floor over here, then on the sofa. So I'm pretending this is the sofa and this is our floor. So it was right here and right here. And I saw the candle that was over here. So there was covers everywhere because the kids always get on about fire to put it out. So I got a burn, and then I was like, get up again and started running at that point because it wakes him up. He's alert. He's realizing that the covers and everything's on fire, the carpet's on fire, and we all go outside. So we get in Albert's truck and we drive. And I drove off in panic because I saw that I put the fire out. So I knew that there was no, like nothing wrong, like it wasn't keep going. I drove off in panic because I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like we break the carpet, we done this and this. Gannon's upset, freaking out because he's scared he's gonna get in trouble and da 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 da. So go all on his shirt, like smoke mark. But he had on a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt because sometimes he has on whatever. He had on a short sleeve shirt with a long sleeve shirt. So I didn't see him in any kind of nothing other than the little burns that we had. I didn't see.
Where did you see
anything
burns
to
on
that
Gannon?
All right, so with Gannon, I just saw that. Okay, so on the top, right here. So say the shirts are here. So right here, there was a burn, and the reason for that was I think whenever he was trying to come up, it kind of burned him a little bit. I'm not gonna make an assumption. I don't really know. And as far as that, I didn't see anything else. I didn't know any other differences or anything like that. So on the arm, it kind of gets a little stretchy and peeling.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was freaked out because I was I didn't know that his arms were like that. So I'm crying because, and this is where I have to start telling you, I'm very, I was scared because my thought process was Albert is going to kill me. Because I made a mistake as a parent and forgot to really check him down. And he really got a little bit more burns than he should have. So I was freaking out because he's gonna kill me. And Gannon was it's okay, there was blood. And he had on his arm, and as it was peeling, I should have called.
Where did they have blood at?
I should have called the hospital and just asked, I don't know enough about burns, but I should have called the hospital and just asked, I made a mistake. I did. I swear to y'all, I didn't know they were that bad. I did it all. So I feel horrible. Here I am. I know it's not, about me, but as a person, I was feeling horrible that I didn't call Albert to say, they're like this. So I told him, I said, okay, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put some aloe on your arms, and things like that. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna, and all I could think about was we're gonna fix it. As we got inside, I heard something, but I didn't think anything about it because I thought, maybe maybe Gannon was like doing something, maybe we were like doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was in there. And I gave him the code.
The guy from the.
Yeah, it's all my fault. I gave him a code to fix the carpet. He was inside. I noticed when I had like walked in and I saw our we have like a little bookshelf thingy. I keep my shades in there too, but we also have like our guns and stuff. I saw it was open, but in my mind I thought maybe I left my shades or whatever.
Your sunglasses?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't think anything of it when I heard the noise, and I just started walking downstairs. But I didn't walk downstairs with like a gun or anything like that. So I started walking downstairs, and then when I walked downstairs, I hear something again. Well, at that point in time, Gannon was on the sofa, and I saw him, and I heard something again, and I walked on around to where so Gannon's room is here, and then there's a storage closet here.
Okay.
And I heard something, and so I walked to the storage closet to open the storage closet, and when I do, it's him. And he was standing in there, and he had on gloves.
In the storage closet?
Yes.
Okay.
He had on gloves.
Okay.
And then he just knocked me down and like towards Gannon's room. And he was hitting on me. He was like hard, like on the ground. And he was trying to rape me, and I just told her. I said, I have to tell you about it.
Okay.
And like from there on was like in a blur because I was trying so hard because Gannon had a table in his room, and I went back and hit my head on it. Like with him, Gannon runs inside the room
Mm-hmm.
and like tries to be helpful, do something, whatever. And from there, it was kind of like a blur. Everything else that was going on because I was just like crying.
Now, I'll just say these interviews and a lot of the footage that I'm taking from today come from extremely long interviews. I'm talking like hours, 3 hours long, or more. And a lot of it came out in the trial. So if you're interested to see any of these in their entirety, they're all online. You just look up Letecia Stauch trial and you'll find it. It's all there. But I'm just selecting a few things. I hope it does. I don't mean to make it seem, biased in any certain way. They're all available if you would like to see anything in its entirety. That being said, near the end of this interview, Letecia tried to leave. They wanted to take her to the hospital right away to do a rape kit test, but she started saying that she wanted to take a break first and freshen up and get some food. Technically, she was allowed to leave, and she was clearly trying to do that, but detectives did their best to try to keep her in the room.
Dylan, so I have a couple questions about Sunday, if you're okay filling that in. I know you're tired. I'm tired. I said that I could, so I just want to take a break. That's all I'm asking for. Where do you want to? That means I want to go to rest. Like she said, I could drive myself to the hospital, so I just don't want. What do we need to go? Am I able to just go? I mean, what do you mean? Am I okay? But the first I'm hearing about a hospital, I mean, what's going on with that? This is why this is frustrating because I have already given her information that you guys can fully watch and see, and you can know why I'm going to the hospital because she wants to get DNA, or to have your body checked. So, right. Were you supposed to report this? When did that happen? It happened on Monday. On Monday? What? I can't right now go through it again. I can't. Okay. So let me make sure that we've got everything lined up for a singing exam. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, she's gonna do that, and I'm gonna just take a break. I want to get food. Look at my lips. So chapped. I haven't. You want some food? I know. What do you want to eat? She just said I could be escorted out.
Now, if that was confusing, Letecia had just given the story about the sexual assault to another detective who then left, and she said she'd be right back. And then this lady swooped in and pretended that she had no idea what was happening. She was clearly just trying to keep Letecia in the room. Then this man entered the party, and he confiscated Letecia's phone. She did not like that.
And so, once again, we're back in the interview room. We're on camera. Mitch Mahalto, he thinks the investigation section. Okay. at this point in time, we were just a step outside, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you decided that you wish to leave and that there's no problem with that. I asked if,
You didn't ask, you took.
at that point in time, you really, me, I
You didn't relinquish the phone, you took it.
I kept the phone, and I told you that we would be applying for a search warrant.
So you said applying.
That's correct.
I'm not going anywhere. I literally just need directions. I mean, I have family numbers in there I don't have.
You're going to be applying for a search warrant. Is that understood?
I'm gonna ask you one favor. You let me find out, or you show me something that you can legally take my phone and you don't have a search warrant yet. You show me that. Can you show me that? Can you show me that?
We're being video recorded.
I understand, but could you show me that, sir? Because that feels like that's kind of a little unconstitutional.
And if that's the case, that can be something that you can bring up.
So they have to then get a search warrant for that phone. So they told her that they were going to hold her in the room until they got their search warrant. And they it was a real hold, so she wasn't allowed to leave. Again, she had a pretty big problem with this.
So I have to stay with the door. I mean, I've been shut up in here, ma'am, and I've been nothing but respectful to you.
Sure, and I'm.
I just, sir, can I speak to you too? I don't care that you had the phone. You took it out of my hand, and that was very disrespectful. If you would have just asked me for it, I would have given that to you. I would have been sure. But it was the way that you did it. Okay, so that was my thing with you on that. And then all I'm saying is, we'll have to be trapped in a room.
So, Lisa, I understand that, and I hear what you're saying about feeling disrespected about
Right.
the phone being taken, and that
Right.
was disrespect.
Okay.
Right.
And
I'm sure that-
understand.
I'm not letting him speak right now, but I'm
Okay.
sure if I did, he would say that he is
Right.
sorry for making you feel disrespected.
That's fine.
Okay. At this point, I'm being told that you have to stay,
Okay.
and this is where we have to keep you. Okay. This
Okay.
is going to be the most comfortable environment.
Okay.
Okay. There's a couch and whatever else, or other interview room.
What was he saying? Payload for what now?
Getting search warrant.
We're getting going to phone for phone.
For you,
For me, what does me do?
because you've given us multiple different stories
Oh,
about
you're talking about the thing you stuck on the net.
Yep.
Oh, I was right. Okay, I got it. I see what you're saying. I got it.
because at this point you have evidence potentially on your body.
I got it.
Right?
I'm sorry. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Well, can I at least go to the bathroom and
No.
wipe off? Nothing? I can't see nothing?
Well, I can tell you that a forensic nurse examiner is accustomed to.
So, yeah.
We're not telling you can't go to the bathroom. Okay. What we're telling you is that you can't go into the bathroom.
No, I didn't see
And-
that. I had to
Hold
an
up.
hour ago.
Hold up. And I've offered you the opportunity multiple times to go to the
I
bathroom.
know, but I wanted to confirm.
Things escalated and escalated. She did not want to stay in the room, and she fought with the detectives. And after they left her there for a while, she was clearly very bored. She repeatedly asked for a snack or something to do. She was pacing around the room. And then this happened.
See? I'm having really bad chest pain. Right here.
Okay.
My chest. That's so
Okay, sit down. We'll call for help.
bad chest pain. I need to probably
Okay,
get out of the clothes in.
just sit in the couch.
So you tell me we can't get.
I'm telling you, we're gonna call for help right now, but I want you to sit
I
down.
can't breathe. I'm just asking to be out. I can breathe.
No,
Tight and closed, and I'm claustrophobic.
you just need to sit down on the couch.
It's really hurting. So.
Sit down on the couch.
Sir, I can't breathe. I'm just asking you to open the door.
Respond.
Sir, I just want to breathe. I'm asking you to keep the door open. That's all.
No, now we're gonna have to call you an ambulance because you said you got chest pain.
I just told you I have chest pain. It's claustrophobic. I can't breathe.
So we're gonna call you an ambulance.
I asked for you to open the door. I just can't breathe.
Well, you're being detained right now, so sit
But
down on the
I
couch.
can't breathe. I just wanted the door open, and you refused that. That's all I asked.
You're being detained and the door helps that, okay?
Anywhere.
So sit down on the couch.
You just leave the door open so I can breathe?
Sit down on the couch.
I told y'all earlier I was claustrophobic, I had really bad anxiety, and I take Lorazepam for it.
Yeah, well, you're claustrophobic until.
No, excuse me, I take Lorazepam every day, and if I don't take it, I could have a panic attack. I take on panic attack. So you are misquoting what you heard.
She got super sassy and the paramedics were called. Finally, the paramedics arrived and guess what they found? Correct. Absolutely nothing. Because she's obviously faking this. Regardless, though, this was a good excuse because they then used this to take her to the hospital where they were able to get that rape kit done, where again, they found absolutely nothing because she is lying about being raped. Now, after the hospital, she met up with Harley, and the two of them went to the parking lot that she had parked her Tiguan in before going to the police station. But too bad the police had gotten to that car first, and I believe at that point they did end up having a warrant for the car, and they took it. Harley and Letecia, so now they were down a car, they were down Leticia's phone, so Leticia's scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. She's doesn't have a whole lot of money, so I think it's that she can't afford to stay at a hotel. So she got Harley to ask one of her friends at work to let her sleep over there. So things got pretty weird. Letecia asked Harley to ask her friend from work, Janine Sanchez, to let her stay at her house for the night. And like, Harley's a pretty nice girl. Like, this Janine Sanchez girl said she really liked her. They had a nice little friendship at work. But I think it was Janine Sanchez picked them up, and then Letecia took Harley's phone, and like this was all very clear because it was happening in front of Janine Sanchez, and she testified to this. Letecia took Harley's phone and texted Janine from Harley's phone, pretending to be Harley, well in the same car, and everyone could see that was happening, asking if Letecia could stay over as well. And Janine found this to be pretty weird, because it is pretty weird, but she agreed to it and it was fine, and they both stayed over at Janine Sanchez's house that night. Now, over the next few days, Letecia tried to get some of her things back from the police, things that they had taken into evidence, including her passport, which was super sus. Now, by January 30th, Gannon's case had been upgraded from a runaway to an endangered missing child. This, I believe, was mostly based off of the blood evidence and Leticia's shady as hell behavior. Things were getting very bad for Letecia. She wouldn't tell anyone where she was at many different times. She'd initially had a bunch of family members come to help. Well, they thought they were there to help look for Gannon and be there for her during this very difficult time. But she ended up just making them help her move all of her things out of her house, and she told them that she was going to go move back to South Carolina. Things got weird, even weirder, and the family were super confused because everybody was treating them like shit, because everybody thought that Letecia had something to do with Gannon's disappearance, and it looked like they were there to help her, help her flee. They couldn't understand why people were so mad at Letecia. They were just very confused. On January 30th, Letecia and Harley went shopping at Marshall's to buy clothes. They were no longer at the house, so they said they needed clothes. At Marshall's, the police apprehended both of them. They took Harley's phone, and they handcuffed both of them. This is when Letecia attempted to run, and the both of them became quite hysterical. Eventually, the cuffs were released, and Harley's car was taken as well. So now they're two of them phoneless and carless, and they kind of had to make their way back to their family who were staying in a hotel. On January 31st, Letecia was driving a van full of her stuff with her half-brother Dakota. Her other family was there as well in a rented Nissan car. And I guess fed up with being hounded by the media and also really wanting to share her point of view, she gave an interview to 11 News reporter Spencer Wilson. And as you can see in the interview, she didn't want to show her face, but she did identify herself. She is going to go ahead and make this entire interview about herself, barely mention Gannon, and lie about being denied an attorney during her interview process.
You are?
I am Tisha Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that. You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and you know, he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. He was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this, but is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, you know, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to
That's fine.
ask her. Sound okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work. Do you want me to just say yes? No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home.
And yes, you heard that correctly. Letecia did indeed start referring to Gannon in the past tense. And listen to her message to Gannon.
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband.
The reporter testified in the trial and said that after Letecia finished her message to Gannon that you just heard, she asked if she could redo it. And this was her take too.
We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Now, after this interview, Letecia, Harley, Letecia's sister, her brother Dakota, and her mother Deborah went to a hotel. Letecia said she needed to go out and buy some dog food, but both Harley and Dakota testified that she spent an abnormally long time on this errand, over 2 hours. And when she returned, Letecia said that she got lost because she didn't have her GPS. Clearly, she was doing something suspicious, and I think we know what it is, and we'll get to it probably in the next episode. Now, at this point, they ended up having to get a second rental van because Aunt Brenda, who'd paid for the first one, no longer wanted to help pay. And I'm not sure what exactly was going on here, but it kind of feels like she no longer wanted anything to do with whatever the hell was going on. And I don't blame her. So Letecia rented herself a second van. Now, Dakota, Letecia's half-brother, helped her move things from the van number 1 to van number 2. And this is his recollection of that.
The next morning, we're now on February 1st, 2020. Did you help her get a new van?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that. What did you and your sister do to get a new van?
We went and drove to the budget place. We got another van. And we got the van. We unloaded all the stuff from out of the van into the other van.
So was that in the early morning hours?
I believe so.
Do you know about what time it was? Is that the first thing you did on February 1st?
I can't remember.
So when you get to the budget area, did you know that you were going to transfer things from one van to another when you got there?
Yeah.
So did you talk about that on the way to the budget rental van?
Yeah.
So talk to the jury about that. How did you guys go about doing that? Moving the items from one van to another?
We just went around right to the side of the budget place, and we just backed the vans up and just swapped them out.
During that process, did you see the defendant with a rather large suitcase?
Yes, sir. I seen her with a lot of suitcases. Well, there was a lot of suitcases on there.
Was there one that kind of stood out to you?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that. Why did it stand out to you?
Because it looked like she was struggling with it.
Did you offer to help her?
Yep.
What'd she say?
She didn't need help.
Did you ask her what's in the suitcase?
Yep.
What'd she say?
She told me it was softball stuff.
Why'd you ask her what's in the suitcase?
I didn't feel right about it.
What about that suitcase didn't make you feel right?
I just felt like it was too heavy for her.
You know, at this time, I'd like to publish People's Exhibit 48. It's already been admitted into evidence.
Go ahead.
You recognize that suitcase we see on the TV screen?
Yep.
How do you recognize that suitcase?
Look, it's an old suitcase. I remember that suitcase looked old, and it's green.
Is that the suitcase you saw your sister putting into the budget van?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase you asked her about what's in it?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase you didn't feel right about?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase she told you is softball equipment?
Yep.
And yes, that suitcase, that state's exhibit that you could see there watching this video, that is the suitcase that Gannon's body would later be found in. But we're not nearly there yet. It was February 1st, and Letecia told Harley that they were leaving, and she kept changing her mind about where exactly they were going, but she did say that that they were going to move. Sometimes it was Texas, sometimes it was Florida, sometimes it was back to Myrtle Beach. Once Letecia had packed up the van with Dakota, she went to pick up Harley from the hotel. Now, the rest of Letecia's family were done. They went to go catch their flight home, and I'm sure they left with a lot more questions than answers. And this is when Letecia and Harley are now on the run. Harley was very blindly obedient and had no clue what was going on. And I think that to this day, some people still think that Harley might have had something to do with this, or maybe knew what Letecia was doing. But I believe that I disagree. I think that Harley was young, a little bit naive, and Letecia had carefully groomed and manipulated her to trust her wholly. It came out in the trial that Letecia had lied about how her father had died, and she'd only found about it later online, like close to the time of her trial testimony. Letecia was a manipulative person, and she clearly used Harley as a clutch. She was always using Harley's social media. There was another woman who testified, very interesting, who she was like trying to get information out of Letecia and was pretty successful at it, actually. And she said that her first interaction with Letecia was that she had been asking one of the Facebook groups if anyone had any extra clothes because her niece was coming to stay with her, whatever. And this Harley Hunt said, I have some clothes, I'll come drop them off. And then Letecia showed up. Like, Letecia was using Harley's Facebook. We see instances where she's using her phone. She clearly has some weird, they had a very close, but I think probably pretty toxic relationship. Here's a little bit of Harley's testimony regarding the trip.
What are you talking about as you're leaving in this budget van from the hotel room? Do you ask your mom where you're going? What's the game plan? That kind of thing?
Yeah, so I did. That's when she was asking me, like, where do you want to live? and the destination just kept like changing. And she was just talking about like starting a new life.
What about Albert and Lena? Gannon? Did you ever talk about leaving them? And
No, she just kept saying that, Albert went against her and doesn't believe her. So that's why she wanted to leave.
and did something like that happen in the past where you and your mom left Albert and the kids on the road somewhere leaving?
Yes.
Tell the jury about that.
There were multiple times that she would just get like angry or frustrated and ask me to like pack up all my clothes and we'd get in the car. One time specifically from Colorado, we drove all the way through Kansas and then she would always like be like, okay, we just need to go home because her and Albert would talk it out and then we'd go home.
Did you think that was going to happen on this trip?
Yes.
Did that happen on this trip?
No.
At what point did you realize that was not going to happen on this trip?
Once we were close to Myrtle Beach. Did I what? I'm sorry.
Did you hear your mother talking on the phone to someone on the other side?
Yes.
Did you hear what she was saying?
Yes.
Who was she talking about with regards to what's going on with Gannon being missing and things like that?
Her sister.
Was she talking about her sister or was she talking to her sister about herself?
Talking to her sister about herself.
And what were the kind of things she was saying?
She just kept saying like she was set up, that this video that's gonna surface will show that Gannon came home. Just things along that line.
Now, as you're sitting in that van listening to these conversations, did you ever ask your mom, what are we doing? Why are we leaving? Gannon's missing. Why aren't we out looking for him? That kind of stuff?
No, I didn't really question her a lot.
Why didn't you question your mom?
I would be told that, like I'm being like disrespectful or like talking back.
And what would happen if you were being disrespectful or talking back to your mom?
Sometimes she would like backhand me
Where would she backhand you at?
to my face.
Is that why you just didn't say anything and you sat in the van and went wherever she was driving?
Yes.
So Letecia and Harley drove across the country. They drove through multiple states. They got to Decatur, Texas on February 2nd, and by February 4th, they'd arrived in Pensacola, Florida. They stayed at a hotel that was just 3 miles away from where Gannon's body would eventually be found. Letecia and Harley got to the hotel very late that night. To Harley's knowledge, Letecia did not leave the hotel room, but she fell asleep right away and says that she is a very deep sleeper. So I think that most people believe that Letecia waited until Harley fell asleep and then she went out and disposed of Gannon's body in Pensacola, Florida. And obviously we're going to get to that, but I'm trying to go in a chronological order here. Now, the next day, they left for Orlando, Florida, where they had just made the decision to live. They had a hotel booked for a few days and were planning to look for an apartment. But they ended up leaving early because Letecia got very paranoid and she was convinced that the police knew where they were. So instead, they left for Myrtle Beach, which is, remember, where Letecia's from. What Letecia was unaware of at the time was that the FBI had actually put a tracking device on their rented van, so everybody knew where they were at all times. She was not hidden. Now, why they had not arrested Letecia at that point, I'm sure many of you are asking. At that point, they just did not feel that they had enough probable cause. I think that they really wanted to find the body of Gannon. They obviously believed that Gannon was no longer alive, and we'll get to a little more about why that was. But they did not feel that they had enough probable cause, and obviously they needed a really tight case against her if they were going to take her down for murder. So they were continuing to track her and investigate her, and they knew where she was. Now, during this whole time that Letecia is away, or on the run, really, Al had began to work not only with detectives, but with the FBI. And he would go on to make multiple phone calls to Letecia. And when I say multiple, I mean a lot. He would make phone calls to Letecia to try to get information from her. And the FBI would be there recording and listening in and prompting him, telling him what to say. Now, these calls were very long and very aggravating. So I'll just play a couple pieces of some of them, and you'll see. Now, this is one of the initial calls where Letecia will not tell Al where she is. I mean, she never does. And then she goes through one of her millions of stupid stories. Take a listen.
Me and Landon listened to you, then I stopped and picked your story apart. So get it straight, Tisha. I listened to you and I said, if I'm wrong about the rape, I will get on my knees and beg you for forgiveness. Did I not say that?
Yeah, but you haven't.
Exactly, because I haven't been proven wrong yet. I want the truth. If I'm wrong, if the police, no matter what they're doing, the FBI, the CBI, the CBS, whoever, okay, if they tell me I'm wrong, I will publicly, in front of the world, get on a camera and tell you I'm sorry. But until that happens, we're going to find the truth.
How can you tell me that someone didn't I don't understand. How can you tell me that someone didn't do something to hurt me and take Gannon?
I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you it hasn't been proven one way or the other. You said you banged your head on the freaking table. Now I got to tell them to go check out the table and see if there's any blood or any of your...
You knew that. They had already asked that.
Okay, but that's the first I heard of it. You see what I'm saying?
Because you never would talk to me. You literally just sat here on a conversation and asked me, did I kill our child?
Yes, I did, because if you say no, then I'll stop thinking that you did it. Okay?
That's horrible.
I don't know what to think. My son's blood, you're telling me his blood's all over the walls, and now you're telling me the Mexican guy that had the gun to your head or whatever took him away, and he knows him, and he could be anywhere.
Hold on. Gun? So where did you get that piece from?
That was so now you got me twisting all your stories up, because that was from the first time you told me the rape story, that he had a gun to your head, you told me it was your gun. You told me, but you told me it was your gun, so that's fine. I'm not debating the points here, but
I said the black one.
Okay, fine, but I mean,
you know in your heart I would never hurt Gannon.
I absolutely believe that, but I'm doing everything I can to help you right now. Okay, so all right, you also said something that was calmed my heart, tremendously about Bubba, that, basically you didn't premeditate anything. So whatever happened to him had to be an accident, just like the candle. And obviously you wouldn't plan on something like that because you're a teacher and you do all those babysitting events. I know you wouldn't hurt kids intentionally, but whatever happened was an accident, and I know you didn't plan it.
I didn't have anything to do with it. Why are you saying this to me?
So he would have had to have died naturally then. Other than
he's dead.
I don't know, Tisha.
I can't even believe you are saying that Gannon isn't alive. What's wrong with you?
Because it's just none of this makes any sense. I mean, he would have been found by now. Okay, he didn't. All the cameras, all that footage shows him not leaving the house other than in the truck. And I like I said, I'm just trying to help you get through this.
Help me?
Yes, help you, because
help me get through this.
Because I am trying to help you. I want to know what happened to Gannon and try to help you and keep Harley safe and everything that I've said the whole time, because that's who I am and you know that.
See what y'all think. This is what y'all think. Y'all think somebody's gonna come in here and say something just to appease everyone. But a true person who is completely innocent, y'all can keep beating me down in the ground all you want to because I didn't do it.
I'm not beating you down.
You think you don't want me anymore? Fine. You don't want our family anymore? Fine. You took my car.
Here is one that takes place on February 14th, 2020. Please take note of the situation that Al is in. His 11-year-old son has been missing for over 2 weeks. Meanwhile, his wife has changed her story multiple times, been evasive, and left without telling him where she went. With that, take a listen. Also, the audio is pretty bad on this one, so just be aware. Nothing I can do about that.
I'm begging you. If they give me immunity, I will help.
Okay, but here. Okay, well, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to I'm not, you have the legal background. Okay, I don't have that knowledge. All I have is my recruiting time and the other stuff I've done. So you need to help me understand what you're trying to get. I don't understand what that means.
Immunity, okay? Do you know what immunity is?
Other than what I've seen on TV shows, I don't know. I need you to help me. That's what I'm trying to, help me to get you to that point. Hello?
Immunity is they're going to grant, I'm a judge, that I would not be charged anything in this. Because I didn't have anything to do with it. The only time that I will testify, and I will give them the information of who has given, and I will testify against them.
Okay. So you're saying, so I'm going to walk back through this so I understand clearly what you're saying. So there's no ambiguity or unknowns here. So you're saying you somehow know where Gannon is, or who has him, or how he got him, or something like that?
Ho. See, that's why you're not going to put words in my mouth.
I'm trying to understand, Tisha. Explain to me, okay? Walk me through it so I understand what you're saying. No, why would I record you? This is me and you. Why would I say Happy Valentine's Day on a recording? That's something personal between us.
It's just you and me on this phone call and in your room.
Absolutely. Okay.
Immunity is where I'm telling you, I told you the truth about Mr. Gannon. There's more details about how that went on. There's more details that I can't discuss that would incriminate myself, because they're going to say, why did you say this? But he has all our information. He was threatening to go to work to get massaged and have these people go there. If I said anything in the meeting with the cops, I was late to the meeting. But I need immunity.
Fine, whatever.
You were being all nice, caring, listening, everything. Then all of a sudden you started being hateful.
Yeah, because you got information I need for my son that everybody needs to get this boy back. Okay?
Okay, so now you're saying I got information, but then just a minute ago you told me I made it up and it was a figment of my imagination.
Okay, so it's on you to pick which one it is. It's not on me to sort through it. It's on you to tell me the truth or keep feeding me bullshit.
Beginning. Listen to me.
Yes. No. Let's start over. Let's get a new beginning here. Okay, let's start over. Because if you keep going back this same path we've been on, I'm just going to keep getting more pissed off and more hurt and more worried about my son, because you've told me 17 different stories now. Start over and tell me who the fuck has my boy. Okay? Tell me a name. That's the beginning. I don't care about Saturday. I don't care about Sunday. I don't care about the fucking truck on Monday. I don't care. Who has Gannon? That's what I care about. Who?
Then I want immunity.
Just the absolute audacity of this woman is literally mind-blowing. Pretty much Letecia is trying her absolute darndest to get herself immunity. She's made up yet another story about the guy who had attacked Gannon and taken him was actually still in the house when the police came almost 4 hours later. And she's saying that she knew that this guy was in the house, and she was like trying to hint to tell them where they were, to tell the police where this guy was, but they weren't getting it, and like they're stupid for this, not her. She put on this huge show claiming that she's under threat and in danger, so she can't say any of the information that they're trying to get from her unless she's given immunity and protected. Now, there were a lot of these calls, each more frantic than the last, and Al did his very best to remain calm, and I have to say he did a very good job. I mean, if you thought that Casey Anthony being questioned was annoying or Jodi Arias, like, this is next level annoying. This is gaslighting at its finest. And not its finest, like, its shittiest. It's like nobody is falling for it. You know what I mean? Like, this is not smart gaslighting. This is just being blatant and not even smart. There's so many people who like got on the stand and are like, Letecia was really intelligent. And I see zero evidence of this because all the manipulation tactics she tried to use were so transparent and so obvious. She's a walking red flag of a person. And I mean, maybe before all of this happened, when she was like not under pressure, her like gaslighting and shitty behavior was less obvious, or maybe she was smarter about it. But at this point, like, it's very far gone. Now, it's during these calls that Letecia changes her story many more times. At one point, she changes the story about Eduardo and says that it was actually a man named Quincy Brown. Now, Quincy Brown had, at the time, just been put on like an America's Most Wanted list, and he was on the run, and he was, I think, around the area, so they went on a wild goose chase for that. She changed the story to somebody was following them on their way home, and then she got tricked by a pregnant woman who turned out to have a fake belly, and Letecia had given her a ride, but the fake belly was full of cash. She forced Letecia to go into the Petco. Don't know why. She then said that these people were part of a money laundering scheme, and they wanted her to go to a bunch of Mexican restaurants to deliver papers. That one was pretty dumb as shit. No one was fooled by that, and it didn't last very long. There was a story that you heard in the call tapes where she said that whatever man she was saying at the time actually stayed in her house and was there until the police left. That change was probably to get over the neighborhood footage that shows both Letecia and Gannon arriving home, and then Letecia leaving and Gannon never coming out of the house, and no intruder ever coming or entering their home. Now, I sat and listened to the trial in its entirety. I listened to every single call, and they didn't put all the calls in the trial. They selected a lot of them, but I listened to hours of this woman just gaslighting the hell out of her husband, who's literally just like, I just want to find Gannon, whatever. And she's like, are you trying to divorce me? Like, have you divorced me? And like, we will get into her like whole personality and what's going on there in a separate episode, because there's a huge psychological aspect that comes in the trial. But I think what we're seeing through all of these interviews is her start, like, she is just like Casey Anthony did, like, she's treading water. She's doing everything she can to just keep up with the evidence, keep her story. She's always got notes with her whenever she's talking to the police. And the second anybody questions her, she attacks them. So it's fascinating. She's truly, I have to say, I hate this woman with every fiber of my being. She's an awful, horrific person who does not deserve to be on this earth, quite frankly. But her behavior to me is just fascinating from a, investigative perspective. But also another, like, a very infuriating part of somebody who does something like this is the wasted time and resources spent. Once people say stuff like that, you have to investigate it, and it was so obviously lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I'll just say they are now Harley and Letecia at this point are in Myrtle Beach. The FBI knows that she's in Myrtle Beach. She does not know that they know that she's in Myrtle Beach. And they are just waiting to have enough evidence to arrest her. There's a lot more to get into. There's the arrest, there's the ride home, which was extremely eventful. And then we have the trial, which is a behemoth in itself. So I hope you I hate to say enjoy, but I hope you learned something. I hope this was of some sort of value to your life. I don't know, that's random, but yeah, thank you for making it all the way to the end, and I look forward to putting out next week's episode. It should be a doozy, quite the doozy. Now, please stay safe out there, because you never know who's knocking. This podcast is produced in collaboration with Lost Line Media. Artwork by August Digital. Music by Matthew Cook.